Hello, welcome to Sportsday. I'm Hugh Ferris. The headlines this evening. Wickets tumble, run rates skyrocket. There is even time for a bit of rain. Test cricket in the Bazball era. Lottie's bump in the Woad. A triple bogey derails her second round at the Open. And Liverpool bid for Alexander Isak, but could it be a first and final offer after it's rejected by Newcastle? Also coming up on Sportsday this evening. Football is back, seemingly just only after it went away, as Celtic begin their defence of the Scottish Premiership. Hello again, welcome along to Sportsday. If the England Test team wanted to showcase a new version of their attacking style this summer, today we got a bit of the original Bazball. Runs came quickly on day 2 at the Oval, but so did the wickets as England established a slender first innings lead over India in a test the tourists have to win. Well, Joe Wilson is there for us. And Joe, I pity those people who have got a ticket for day 5, maybe even day 4 of this test match.
I know what you mean. It certainly had the feel of a real fast, frenetic test match, hasn't it, today? And we're in now to the 3rd innings, in a way, of the day. Seems like about a week ago that we began with India still in their first innings. But let's try and rewind and start with some of the action from there. I'm sure India would have hoped to at least get to lunch in their first innings. In fact, it didn't even last half an hour. 224 all out, thanks in part to Gus Atkinson, who's been England's best bowler in this series. Took the last 2 wickets in the space of 2 balls to finish on 5 for 33 for the innings. It's exactly the kind of form England have been nursing him back towards over this series, the kind of form they will hope he might show when it comes to the Ashes in November. So 224 all out, batting looked tricky. Then we had England's approach to it in their first innings. And that's when we had, as you alluded to, Hugh, the kind of classic Bazball approach, because Ben Duckett and Zach Crawley knocked off almost half of India's first innings lead in the first session before we got to lunch. It was a stand of 92 and it featured a lot of brave innovation from Ben Duckett in particular, hitting sixes in every part of the ground. Now, that's the kind of risk-reward batting that he specialises in. Inevitable that it would fail at some point. And after making 43 of just 38 balls, Ben Duckett did fall, attempting another one of those reversey scoop trick shots. Now, of course, Akashdeep was delighted to take this wicket, caught by Dhruv Jurel, deputising for Rishabh Pant with the wicketkeeper's gloves. But he could celebrate. Was it necessary for the arm to go round the shoulder of Ben Duckett? I'm not sure if that was entirely appropriate, and perhaps lucky that Ben Duckett didn't respond to it. So, could England then hit their way to a decent first innings lead? The answer is basically no. Prasidh Krishna bowled well, aggressively, had some words with Joe Root, and he came in with some big wickets, including that of Jamie Smith, who fell for just 8. So it came down in the end to Harry Brook, in particular, improvising, and England only establishing, after those wickets, a slender first innings lead of 23. And since then, in the early evening sunshine, Hugh, we have had India making a decent, solid start to their second innings. Although I heard a roar just behind me about 30 seconds ago, which suggests that maybe England have taken a wicket, but I cannot confirm that as I look towards you.
Yes, I can see things you can't. Joe, 46 for 1. KL Rahul has gone for 7. Caught off Josh Tongue by Joe Root, who is sporting a headband today, Joe, and he is not the only one.
No, these are the headbands. Have I got it in my pocket? I have. They're being sold around the ground and worn by, players and spectators for £5. Of course, it's in memory of the life and career of Graham Thorpe, the kind of headband we can remember him wearing during some of the best moments of his career. In the darkness, in victory, in Karachi will always stick in my mind. Now, a great player for England, suffered from prolonged bouts of anxiety and depression, poor mental health, and ended up last year, as we know, very sadly, taking his own life. That doesn't need to happen. That shouldn't happen. And the fundraising today is trying to fill the gaps in treatment and care. It is hard to think of anybody with a closer connection to Surrey and England than Graham Thorpe, but top of my list would be Alex Stewart. So excellent now to get his perspective on the man and the day.
Thorpe was one of the toughest cricketers I played with. I first met him, he was probably 14. Played a lot of cricket with him. He was not just a teammate, a really good friend. And to see what happened to him and the way he went downhill was horrible. And he is a fighter, he was a fighter. But sometimes, you know, you fight a battle, you don't always win. And that's the thing. So if it can happen to someone like Thorpe, it can happen to anyone. And that's what I talk about. No one should be embarrassed. No one should feel lonely. Please share what you're thinking and be honest. That's the important thing, because on the outside, everything can appear, everything's fine. But inwardly, we don't know what's going on in someone else's mind unless they're prepared to share. Admit it, it's not weakness, it's actual strength to share your problems.
Yeah, great words from Alex Stewart. My final thoughts would be these. I can remember standing here at the Oval 20 years ago when England won the Ashes. There was so much confidence in English cricket there, I think perhaps overconfidence. And a lot of time subsequently has been spent trying to ensure that cricket is in the hearts and minds of a general public, irrespective of subscriptions and algorithms. And in a broader sense, with a broader purpose, that has been the goal and the great success of this programme, Hugh, we still call Sportsday.
Joe, thank you very much indeed. Joe Wilson, the incomparable Joe Wilson at the Oval. You're watching Sportsday. Let's have some of the other stories from the day's sports news. And Great Britain have claimed their first swimming gold at the 2025 World Aquatics Championships. The men's 4x200 metre freestyle relay team were anchored home by Duncan Scott to take the title in a time of just under 7 minutes ahead of China, whilst Australia took the bronze. Britain's Lando Norris has gone fastest in practice at the Hungarian Grand Prix, leading McLaren teammate and championship leader Oscar Piastri by just under 0.3 of a second. Meanwhile, an unhappy Max Verstappen down in 14th for Red Bull is being investigated by the stewards for throwing an item out of his cockpit during the session. And French rider Maëva Scabon made it a second dream day in a row as she won stage 7 of the Tour de France Femmes. She becomes only the 4th rider to win consecutive stages of the race, although she is still 7 minutes behind Kim Lecourt-Pinard at the top of the general classification. Two Japanese players have separated themselves from the pack after 2 rounds of the Women's Open at Royal Porthcawl. Miyu Yamashita and Ryo Takeda have a significant advantage over the field, while England's Lottie Woad would love to have another go at the 16th, where a triple bogey derailed her second round. Our golf correspondent Ian Carter is there, and Ian, that 7 for Lottie Woad sticks out like a sore thumb on her card.
It really does. I was out with her for all 18 holes this morning, and it was a brilliant performance. Up to that point, she got off to a patient start and then started to reel off the birdies. There were 7 of them in there, just the one drop shot. Ultimately, though, at the 16th, she got into real trouble. A second shot going into thick rough. There were brambles down there. I was part of the search party, and it was, in fact, Lydia Ko who found a ball. It was very deep in the rough. She tried to hack it out and only buried the ball further into the trouble, had to take an unplayable drop, so a penalty shot there. And by the time she pitched onto the green and 2-putted, she'd added a 7 to her scorecard. She wasn't able to birdie the par 5 closing hole either. So frustration for Lottie Woad by the end of her round. It was a 2 under par 70, which took her to 2 under. She's in a share of 11th place, but it could have been so much better.
That top of the leaderboard does have a Japanese feel. They went out early and seemed to prosper.
Yes, they did. It was flat calm first thing this morning, and Miyu Yamashita took full advantage with that brilliant 65, and Ryo Takeda as well, managing to build on her excellent start as well. So they've separated themselves at the top of the leaderboard, really making the most of the best of the conditions today. Those playing this afternoon have had a real struggle with the breezes in the sunshine that have swept Royal Porthcawl.
Ian Carter, thank you very much indeed. That's Ian Carter at Royal Porthcawl for us. Now, the transfer window will be shut a month from now, and the biggest deal of it still might be to come. Well, Liverpool, responsible for more than £250 million worth of spending already this summer, might be about to surprise everybody by not providing it. The Premier League champions' pursuit of Alexander Isak developed into a bid today, thought to be £110 million, but after it was rejected, might they be about to walk away? Our reporter Nizar Kinsella has more.
At the moment, we understand that Liverpool don't think that this Isak deal is achievable in this transfer window, and are willing to walk away. Currently, Isak is still away from his Newcastle squad. They're away on pre-season in Asia. Initially, it was said that he had a thigh injury, but now he's sort of training away from the group with his former club Real Sociedad in San Sebastian, Spain. So next week, Eddie Howe said he hopes that the striker will come back and train with the group. So it's yet to be seen how this one will end, but certainly Liverpool are starting to make noises that they're very much out of this for the time being, and won't be signing him in this transfer window. So it remains to be seen as well if Liverpool move on to another target or just stick to what they've got, because they've already spent quite a lot of money in this transfer window.
Well, that deal might have a September deadline, but as is the case when the calendar ticks around to August, it is already time to settle in for another football season. I hope you enjoyed your 3 weeks off. It is a staggered introduction to the new campaign over the next 3 weekends. Another division or two will be getting underway, starting with Leagues 1 and 2 in England, and indeed everywhere in Scotland. In the last 14 years, only once has the Premiership trophy left the cabinet at Celtic Park, but they are bracing themselves for the challenge of Rangers, led now by Russell Martin, while there are newcomers looking forward to a top-flight return as well, as Chris McLaughlin reports.
Good morning, Falkirk Stadium.
New season and a newly promoted Falkirk, the excitement is building, and a chance for fans to get what they need for the year ahead. For this club, it's been 15 years since they last tasted life in Scotland's top league.
It's been probably a long time coming for many fans, 15 years since the last time we were in the Premiership, and since the 3rd of May, when we managed to get over the winning line, we've been looking forward to this.
The build-up here, of course, is being replicated right across the country. Clubs, players, managers and fans all getting ready for the start of a brand new campaign. Expectations will be highest in Glasgow's East End, where Celtic have come first in 13 of the last 14 seasons.
The expectations there for them to win it, but, you know, we'll look forward to the challenge for across the city this year.
Well, I think we should, because, you know, we are the best team in the land, so without a doubt.
The rivals have new investment and new hopes that this could be their year.
There's been so much change here from the top in terms of leadership, ownership. I think change can often be really, really messy. And the way the guys are navigating it, I've been really proud of them because it's not easy.
If it is to be a straight battle for the top, then what about the battle to be best of the rest? Dundee United were mostly consistent and will look to build on 4th. Hearts struggled, but under new guidance have big ambitions. Across the city, Hibs started badly but finished on a high. And how far can the feel-good factor of Scottish Cup success take Aberdeen?
You know, we need to go to Falkirk, another difficult away fixture, and hopefully get off to a good start in the league campaign.
We'd like to think that we can be searching and striving for European football in amongst those places.
Now it's back again to another season, and you have to leave it behind and focus on another season. But it was a great summer.
There's plenty of change in the dugout this time. 5 clubs start the season with new managers, all hoping for a change in their new club's fortunes. Some well known, others looking to make their mark in Scottish football for the first time.
For now, I'm just really excited to get started and to get more knowledge about Scottish football and especially ourselves.
Falkirk are not the only newly promoted club. Livingston are also back with big ambitions of their own, so plenty of intrigue as ever.
We don't want to just be here surviving. We want to try and push, and we want to try and do as collectively well we can as a group.
Who wins? Who knows? There's always a story or two, and the first chapter in season 2025-26 begins tomorrow. Chris McLaughlin, BBC News.
Well, the domestic league season, strictly speaking, starts tonight with a couple of games, including Luton's opening match in League One following back-to-back relegations. They're playing AFC Wimbledon as they attempt to acclimatise to some unexpected and unwanted surroundings, as James Burridge reports.
The summer holidays are over for professional footballers, but life never stops if you're a manager like Luton's Matt Bloomfield. He was keen to sign Wolves centre-back Nigel Longwyke, and at the bar of his Tenerife hotel, he concluded a nice bit of business.
It's just a bit of a coincidence that the Port Vale assistant manager was in the same hotel as was the Wolves loan manager, so I was able to get an insight into what was going on with Nigel, and we were able to sign him off the back of that. So it never stops, literally never stops. Even on holiday, my wife was a little bit angry that I kept popping off to try and sign someone from Wolves, but it's all part of the fun.
It wasn't fun back in May. Luton relegated for the second time in a row, a relegation that should never have happened, and the scars still linger.
The boys were heartbroken, the staff were heartbroken. It was incredibly painful, and like I say, that will never leave us. But now it's about the future. It's an exciting future. It's one that I'm so thankful and happy to be a part of. You know, I can remember my most painful memories in football will never leave me, but that's fuel to be better and have success in the future. I think you learn more from your most painful memories than you do from the best memories, because they teach you lessons of how you need to evolve and be better for the future.
Luton's double relegation has obviously been a body blow. The response has been a total rebuild. This squad behind me is completely unrecognisable from the one that took them to the Premier League 2 years ago and even featured in the Championship.
League One, every game is different. It's always a hard game, even if you think you'll be the stronger team and have the ball the whole game. There's a lot of physical players in this league, that set piece and all sorts of things, so you never know what to expect. Players we've got and the quality we've got, I don't think we should think about anything else than getting promoted.
The journey that the group had been on for the previous couple of years had come to an end, and it was the right thing for a couple of players to move on. There was desire for them to move elsewhere, other clubs wanted them, and it was the right thing for us to freshen it up as well. So it's just been going through that process and making sure that we come out stronger as the other side.
Bloomfield knows League One well as a player and manager at Wycombe. He now leads Luton into a new era, but one with plenty of expectation. James Burridge, BBC News, Luton.
Well, the Championship's opening fixtures are next weekend, but there is a significant question mark accompanying Sheffield Wednesday's participation in them. They are in deep financial trouble and for the third month in a row are having problems paying their players, at least one of which has handed in his notice. A friendly against Burnley has been cancelled, while we're told the EFL is increasingly concerned about Wednesday's ability to fulfil their fixtures. It is a situation their new manager has just inherited, as BBC Radio Sheffield's Rob Staten explains.
We often talk about jobs being the impossible job. This may well be for Henrik Pedersen because he's got hardly anything to work with. The Championship is one of the toughest divisions in world football. It's unforgiving. There's a real chance that Sheffield Wednesday will get a points deduction before the season begins. There's an EFL charge against the club and against the owner, Deshpon Chansiri. The precedent with Reading was that points deductions follow the charges that have been levied against Sheffield Wednesday. So it's going to be really difficult for him to succeed. I think what he will be hoping for is that the club gets taken over and that there is a fresh start for everybody and that he will get to be the manager in that fresh start. But at the moment, there's no indication that a takeover is close.
Well, I mentioned earlier about the brevity of the break between the seasons. Chelsea won the Club World Cup just 19 days ago, and there's just another 2 weeks until the new Premier League campaign is upon us. But its chief executive insists that as tensions continue between governing bodies and the Players' Union about how much football fills the calendar, the Premier League will not be the ones to make space for others.
Since 1994, the Premier League has been 380 matches, 20 clubs. We haven't changed shape at all. And we're now starting to redesign our domestic calendar at the altar of European expansion and international expansion or global expansion, FIFA competitions. So, for example, FA Cup replays don't take place now because there is no room in the schedule. We are starting our seasons a week later than we normally do because we've recognised the fact that FIFA competitions are getting bigger. 48 Club World Cup next summer. You're asking players to play in more matches. My job is to make sure the Premier League remains as competitive as possible. And I want players to be fully available to participate in league matches. And that's my concern, really. So there has to be, at the top of the game, a proper dialogue between FIFA and all the stakeholders about how these things go forward. And that's been sadly missing. Not the same with UEFA. We do get to talk, and we can feel our voice in the outcomes they've come to. We may not be happy about everything that's put forward, but at least we have a seat at the table and a discussion via the European Leagues Forum. So player welfare is a concern, congestion of the calendar is a concern, and dialogue is the only answer, proper dialogue.
And whilst the British and Irish Lions are hoping for a clean sweep in Australia tomorrow, Wales women couldn't quite achieve that feat today. They were beaten by Australia, who struck first. Winger Jasmine Joyce-Butchers crossed to celebrate her 50th cap in style in response, but that was to be it for the visitors' tally. The Wallaroos dominated the rest of the game from there, scoring 5 more tries, including 2 from number 8, Tabua Tuin-Kauvadra, to win convincingly 36-5 and draw the series 1-1. Finally, the Wales men's team could have a surefire star ready to help return to boost their ailing form after Rees-Zammit decided to end his pursuit of a career in the NFL. He says he's excited to be returning, but we don't yet know where the former Wales, Lions and Gloucester wing will be playing. Here's Matt Murray.
His skill and pace has been missed on the international pitch in Wales. Rees-Zammit quit rugby 18 months ago to pursue a career playing American football. He participated in the NFL's International Player Pathway, which helps foreign-born players. The 24-year-old was signed to the 2024 Super Bowl winners, the Kansas City Chiefs, but was cut after failing to impress. He then joined the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he's been part of the practice squad.
Any convert from another league, it's always going to be a difficult task, especially when you're, like I said, when you're up against some of the best athletes in the world who have been giving their all for the sport, and they've been playing ultimately since the age of 5, potentially. So he was, you know, the catch-up that he had to do in a really short space of time was quite drastic.
The earning potential is staggering. The highest annual salary in NFL history was signed last year, worth $275 million. Reports out of the Jaguars training camp last month suggested Rees-Zammit had missed training with a lower back injury, and his future was placed in doubt. Now he's announced his decision to leave the NFL and return to rugby on social media. He said, "It's been a great experience, but it's time to come home. I've decided that this is the best time to make this decision, to give myself time to get everything in place for next season." He added, "There's only one thing that's on my mind. That's coming back to rugby and doing what I do best." People attending a summer sports competition in Swansea welcomed the news.
What an experience he must have had. And yeah, well, we're very happy that he's back and that he's going to be hopefully playing for the Welsh team.
He's a £1 million man, and so I can't see a Welsh region forward in him.
Because he's a talent, he's exciting to watch. He's just a cracking rugby player.
There's Paul Thornburn, signed by the Rams for this game.
In 1987, Wales fullback Paul Thorburn was invited to kick off the Los Angeles Rams friendly against the Denver Broncos at Wembley. A contract with the Rams was said to be on offer, but it was not for Thorburn. So where next for the winger, known in Wales as Rees Lightning?
Well, of course, he's not coming back to Wales at a good time, really. Wales, you know, in terms of its regional structure, is under review. You know, I'm not too sure that he would want to jump straight into bed with a Welsh region, because there are serious question marks over the future of the regional game. You know, if he's desperate for money at the moment and needs to get back into employment soon, then I suspect his best option would be to look outside of Wales.
Although we know the American dream is over, it's unclear where his rugby future will be.
Well, that's it for now. And as Joe Wilson alluded to earlier, that is really it for Sports Day. This is the final edition of a programme that in some form or another has been part of the BBC for close to a quarter of a century. This is just the team today, but there are countless others who have contributed to the show. Correspondents, crew, faces and voices telling the best sports stories at this time every day. Well, beyond the big events and breaking news, Sports Day has allowed great work from the BBC's nations and regions to be seen by a wider audience. It's shone a light on sports that few will have heard about. This programme has truly been a unique piece of public service broadcasting, exactly what the BBC is all about. But don't worry, we're not going anywhere. The people who put their heart and soul into this programme will still do the same every single day in the years ahead. And we will still be telling those stories, just in a different way. So thank you for watching, and we'll hopefully see you soon from me and the whole team. Bye-bye for now.